Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to my afternoon news report right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. New Hampshire House votes to repeal death penalty law, but Sununu promises veto. For the first time since 2000, New Hampshire lawmakers are sending a death penalty repeal bill to the governor. And as then Governor Jeanne Shaheen did 18 years ago, Republican Governor Chris Sununu promised to veto the measure. The New Hampshire House on Thursday passed Senate Bill 593 by a vote of 223 to 116. While the roll call was a strong show of support for repeal, it also showed that there are not yet enough votes to muster the two-thirds supreme majority necessary to override a Sununu veto. The Senate approved the bill by a 14 to 10 vote on March 15th, also short of the override threshold. The bill, if enhanced, would not apply to the lone convicted murderer on death row, Michael Addison, who was convicted of a 2006 capital murder of a Manchester police officer, Michael Briggs. He would be the first convicted murderer put to death in New Hampshire since 1939. Opponents of repeal warned that despite the bill's language repealing the death penalty only for future murderers, Addison's attorneys will move in court to have Addison's penalty reduced to life in prison. A death penalty repeal was close to becoming law in 2014 when it was passed by the House, and then Governor Maggie Hassan stood ready to sign it. But it never got to her desk because the state Senate defeated the repeal on a 12 to 12 tie vote. After the Thursday vote, Sununu retreated his veto promise. Under New Hampshire's criminal law, a person convicted of capital murder is eligible for the death penalty. And capital murder in New Hampshire includes the murder of a law enforcement officer or judicial officer acting in the line of duty, the murder of someone during a kidnapping, rape, home invasion, or burglary, murder for hire, a murder committed by someone who has already been sentenced to life in prison without parole, and murder committed during a drug-related crime. Rep. Rennie Cushing, Democrat of Hampton, whose father was murdered in 1988, has long been the state's top legislative advocate of a death penalty repeal. He expressed confidence after the vote that additional support can be found to override a Sununu veto. Cushing said people involved on this issue. I think we'll look at the voting tally and see who wasn't there in the House, for instance, and try to talk to people. There are also some senators who I think in their heart of hearts know that it's time to abolish capital punishment. He called the death penalty a failed public policy. It doesn't do anything to protect safety. It doesn't work for police. It doesn't work for victims. When we use the death penalty, we become what we say we abhor. We become killers. During the House floor debate, Rep. Jeannie Notter, Republican of Merrimack, recalled in detail the murder of Kimberly Cates and the serious injuries suffered by her 11-year-old daughter, Jamie, in 2009. Life in prison for such a heinous crime is not justice, she said. Nutter said that not every murderer should be put to death, only the worst of the worst. She recalled the Briggs murderer, asking, "What message are we sending to our police officers and what we think of their lives?" And that does it for my afternoon news report right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your afternoon, and I'll see you back here later on today for another news report and for the Riley King newscast. Goodbye, everyone.